All right, welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. Let's check out the crypto market and what's going on right now. This is mostly daily charts for May 21st, 2:51 p.m. In Arizona time. So I should say it's May 21st, 2:51 p.m. Arizona time. These are mostly daily and 4-hour charts we're going to look at. We're going to check out most of the ISO compliant cryptos, including Bitcoin and Trump coin and Doge, a couple others. Basically, the ones that people have interest in right now. And why I always look at the ISO ones are I believe those might definitely play a role in the future of our tokenized economy. So I definitely see when we hit alt season, those might be ones that really do run. And I will post some articles in these in the future. I got to collect them, but why I think the ISOs have a lot of upwards movement probability. So with that said, this is just speculation, not financial advice. Watch at your own risk and trade responsibly. So with that said, this is Bitcoin, and what I wanted to show here on the daily chart, pulling in a lot of time here. This goes way back where this fib is starting on March of 2020, and an idea of this, I really cannot put it forth as well as he does, but in the description you'll see link for blockchain education. We have 2 webinars a week where we go over all this stuff, and if you're a crypto trader, it's a great place to come hang out. With that said, a pattern that we see is the accumulation phase here in the boxes, and then we see a boom. So basically, when we get these accumulation phases, you're going to have accumulation, then usually some wicks down, a little bit of downwards action to wipe the longs. You can see it can be very pronounced sometimes, and then boom, we take off. So you can look in the past. This is like 2022. This is 2023. This is 2023. This is 2024. You're seeing this accumulation phase, and here you see it very clearly, where you'll see after the accumulation, see some nice, beautiful downwards wicks, some downwards action. That's wiping longs out, and then boom, it takes off. So, and if I was to zoom in a lot more, you would see that same pattern, especially here and here. Here, way back in the day, not as much. We didn't quite have the same institutional interest in 2022, well, arguably, as we do now. So we're starting to see this incredibly replicated pattern where basically, and you see it, if I was to zoom in a little bit more, and also do note how this fib sticks very well, and it can be very predictable. Like if we look at here, this is December of 2023 to February of 2024, we had this accumulation phase. We definitely had some moves up and down out of this. But look, this is the 618 golden pocket here on this long daily chart. On this daily chart with a fib that goes way back to when Bitcoin was 3,000, when it dipped down. So, and what did we do? We went up here. We were wrecking long. I mean, in shorts. Down here, you're wrecking longs, and then boom, you take off. And then, of course, the institutions are buying all the way. The one thing you don't see here, which is more traditional, would be like what they would call a accumulation phase here, and then this phase here would be, as they would say, retail participation, and then usually you would get a little bump up here, like kind of a euphoria stage. Everybody's like, "Yay, I'm just so happy," and then bam, you would have, then you hit the shattered hopes and dreams stage. Let me see if I can find that symbol. I don't want to keep us too long, but yeah, here we go, arrow maker, and then you would have this, boom, back to where you started. That's pretty common. So accumulation, and then retail participation, and then euphoria up here. Yeah, I'm just so happy, we're going long, and then boom, and you have to realize the institutions were buying. They were accumulating here over time, and then they were buying on the way up as well to keep that price moving. Then they were buying up here to keep it elevated. Euphoria phase, everyone's like, we're going long, woo, and then bam, they got their shorts in, and it just crushes everybody. So anyway, but it's a pattern that happens over and over again. But one thing about Bitcoin is that traditional pattern, we have not really seen it. I mean, on a shorter time frames, yeah, probably we have, but basically, you have your accumulation here, you have your retail participation, then you have even more accumulation. And of course, each time you do get, like right here, you get, I won't go over it again, but you get, during accumulation, before you take off, you get a little bit of the longs get removed basically there, and then boom, off we go. And then here you can see we're downtrending a little bit. Definitely longs were getting wrecked here, and then it starts picking up, get rid of a couple more of those longs, and then boom. And then also note, of course, this white moving average here is a 200 moving average, so we dipped underneath it. People think, oh no, it's over, but it wasn't. And then bam, it takes off. So what do we got going on here? It's just a very common pattern. If I pull more of this chart back in, you really begin to see it. So it's accumulation, retail participation, and then sideways more accumulation. Retail participation, sideways more accumulation. Retail participation, sideways more, just more accumulation. Retail participation up, and then basically it's more accumulation. And like I say, usually when these things play out, you tend to see, like I say, like what I almost expect now, just looking at how I see things usually sort of roll out there in the world, on the charts, that I almost expect something like this, where you get like, they push it up here, go sideways a little bit, people get really excited, and then you get the sorry about that, the hammer comes, and that would be right here, boom. But, in Bitcoin's chart, we just don't tend to see that pattern playing out. And this is going back several years. And also the fib sequence, you really cannot ignore it. It's so darn tight. So if I pull all this back in again, and I won't linger on this one too long, but do look at that. This is going back to the low we had in 2020, around $3,000. We move up. This just fits. It was stuck in the golden pocket for a while. It was between the 786 and about 5 here. That's just really something. We got down below the 786. People figure, oh my gosh, that's it, it's over. But you had accumulation here for sure. Back in 22, November of 22, you had this beautiful accumulation. Boom, we ran. Then you had more accumulation right here on the 786, which is definitely a make it or break it level. And then bam, we took off after coming down here and wrecking some longs. And boom, we take off. And I always see these little runs between these accumulation zones. That's retail participation. That's where basically the institutions let you come in, buy lots of Bitcoin, help them push the price up. But rather than like have the distribution phase, which is where they would then dump it and short, they just run it sideways more and accumulate. So that seems to be the model. And right now, what are we doing? We're trying to weaken the dollar. And so let's take a real quick look at the dollar here, trading view. And I'll start doing a chart here where we show these two. I'll do it right now, real fast, actually. DXY, let's look at a daily chart. Let's nix all this nonsense. Boom. And then let's just look at the daily chart for DXY, and what is happening. It's been dumping, a little bit of recovery recently, but there we have like 3 soldiers or 3 crows, whatever they call it, lined up. Candles going down. That's rather bearish. So anyway, dollar strength index is definitely beyond control, dumping. How'd gold look today? Gold, real quick. Gold, how are you today? Gold making a nice recovery, moving up above the 200 moving average. Some serious upwards velocity. This double top here, as it appears, definitely is not gonna. It did fail, I guess you'd say, or and gold went down a bit, but it's definitely recovering very quickly. So anyway, dollar strength index as the DXY dumps, we're definitely going to see Bitcoin move up. So dollar strength index, Trump wants to weaken the dollar. We'll look at Trump coin as well, and boom. So anyway, this pattern just plays out now, and look at how well it fits in the fib. This is impossible. This is such beautiful manipulation. So anyway, here we are above the 236 and the top of the range. Usually a place that I consider kind of weak, but maybe not here so much. Like I say, I don't. If we follow what we've done in the past, I don't see us basically going up here to like the euphoria phase and hanging out for a while. Everybody's long, whoa, and then bam, they hammer us because they haven't really done it for years, and the dollar strength index is going down, so Bitcoin's probably going to go up. But what everybody's wondering is, hey, where are we at here? Are we going to go up or are we going to go down? Well, here's what I'm kind of thinking. If you study this chart a good deal, if we keep looking at just history, like what's happened before, I'd imagine we're going to go up. One of the things I see right here is we definitely have we've been wrecking some longs, even though mostly longs are futures. You're usually thinking of it that way, but lots of people just buying Bitcoin who do have a stop. This is where they're going to be getting liquidity. So this is where they're getting liquidity, and now it's moving up. And so are we just going to basically just be another, like, is this here this time in 2025? Is that just going to be another one of these squares, these rectangles that we look at before we run up again? Probably. We'll be here next year or a year from now, and it'll just kind of look like and we'll be looking at this, and I'll just be saying, hey, like look what happened. It did what it always does, especially with the weakening dollar. What else can it really do? But my little take on it is this at the moment. Let's look at this section here. I'm going to do something very painful. I'm just going to delete all these indicators. Okay, now let's just look at, let's look at this fib sequence right here. Going back to this wick on August of 2024. Let's look. We kind of have almost a triple top. But looking at this, where are we right now? We ran up, hit the .5. We're still above the 200 moving average. I mean, this is wonderful. We're above the 314 moving average here in green. I mean, it's a strong chart. It's just a matter of are we going to go up or down. Here's the deal. Looking at the daily chart, I think, and this is just me, and if I'm wrong, I don't want to steer anybody wrong. This is just kind of my opinion. Maybe we could even pull the fib into like right here. It doesn't really matter. Forget it. Here's the thing. I have a feeling, and this is something also over at Blockchain Education during the webinars, Jonathan Regan mentioned, and I kind of tend to agree. He articulates it way better than I do or can at the moment, But I kind of have a feeling we're going to see one of these and then go up. So we are definitely sideways, and that's kind of, if you look here, we've got this big range. So let me actually grab this box here, this rectangle. So we have a range going on, like right in here. And I think you could almost call it here. I would say that I think here we're wrecking some. This is the liquidity zone down here and the liquidity zone up here. So I think we're wrecking. We're stop lossing some people here because we're getting below the 200 moving average. We even dropped below the 314 moving average on the daily. So I think it's going to like shake some confidence. Now we're moving up. So it's all about, are we going to continue moving up, or are we going to? I think undoubtedly, looking at the data that we've already looked at, we're going to move up, but are we going to move up from here or after a retrace? Well, here's what I'm watching. The indicators here, okay? The MACD is kind of indecisive right now. The blue line crossing the red is the MACD crossing the signal. So we're, the tangent right now of the signal is, positive. Yeah, so let's see. The histogram is beginning to show us a little bit of love there. This here is the squeeze indicator. It's beginning to turn down. Directional index is turning down a little bit. Well, I should say the directional index and ADX, they're sideways. One thing that you can see here, let's see, this is volume, and this is actually a mix of buy and sell volume, these candles here. So if I look at these, what's something that I'm seeing here? I'm seeing declining volume. Let me get a trend line here. This is declining volume, okay? And these don't represent buy or sell. These are buy and sell, okay? So we're seeing declining volume here. And the question is it going to push up, continue pushing up, or is it going to have a retrace before it does? And so with these declining indicators here, it could just roll from here. But, if you're not already in a position, what do you do? I guess if you were in the green and you don't care, it all depends on where you're at. But for me, do I want to buy right here? I'm like, I'll take my chances. If I was going to scale in, it'd be pretty darn light. I think one thing you can already do, you can already kind of see here, is at least I'm seeing, is you've got some accumulation zones here. There's accumulation. Here there's accumulation. Now you're breaking out of that accumulation. You're beginning to make a run. So we are above the 200 moving average. That's very, very good. And that is pretty slick. But we are seeing a slowdown in volume. And we're seeing directional index and ADX is sideways. Squeeze is beginning to roll over. And the MACD is just not exactly where I'd like it to be. It's up here. It's overextended. When you're going to make a run and you want to have some confidence from the MACD that your run is really going to happen, you kind of want to be here for a long or here for a short. And right now we're kind of in, really more of a short territory, in my opinion. So I'm really watching the tangent of this MACD. If it continues being positive and the histogram widens, well, then maybe good to go. But if not, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant, if you know what I mean, to get in. Now, with that said, let's go down a little bit deeper here. So that's what I can tell you. I mean, I just think we could be seeing, and here's why. Here's another reason right here. This is Coin Paprika, which is just coinpaprika.com. The real volume here, EVR, they call it the real volume, estimated real volume, is last 24 hours is 11 billion. Now the thing is, and this comes from Black Education, Jonathan Regan, between my notes here, between where is it? sorry to hold you up, but like between 8 and 14 real volume billion, that's really kind of like, it's a good spot for manipulation, but it's really not a good spot it's an easy spot for institutions to manipulate. But as far as to get a run up, to really push to the all-time highs, to get a run up, you're looking at about 30 to 40 billion is what you need to get that upwards trend. And we're just not seeing that. So I'm kind of watching volume. When that volume starts hitting like 20, 30, 40, I'm going to start saying, okay, that's definitely something that I'm into. So right now we have declining volume, and it went away, but you can see the indicator was here. You can see the declining volume on the daily. You can see the rolling over of the squeeze indicator, and the MACD is in general, to me, a little bit like undecided. That's my question mark, but I think it's probably the tangent. Looking at where it's at, it's probably more likely to roll over than anything else. So with that said, if I was in the like playing the futures market for Bitcoin, or if I just wanted to, if I was going to be shorting, if I was doing Bitcoin futures, I really would be watching for that that roll down. And I think where you might see that too is down to like the 200 moving average. And then I think, honest to God, I think it is game time. I think it's game on. Then we're looking like 150K or something like that. But we could even see a little move up here to like 110K and then a bounce. But if I'm wrong, well, that's fine. Bitcoin is not the only thing I'm trading, but I would love to have a long in Bitcoin that just, rode its way up, but I don't want to buy before a retrace. Do I have confidence for going up? Oh, heck yeah. But do I want to buy and then get a retrace and be in the red? No, I'd rather not. So anyway, I'm thinking we're going to see, this is just me, okay, for what it's worth. I definitely think we could see, let me roll this over here. I know it's nutty, and people are going to say, what, are you crazy? But I think down to the 200 moving average, a 200 moving average is right around like, I guess if I look there, it's like 93, like 93,000. So, I mean, I know that may sound a little bit nutty, but it could happen. If I was to do like a GAN, I could, I'll just do the this is easier. What if I was to run right here, this last little run up? Where is dot 5? Halfway is right there on the 200 moving average, and that's 92,000. So I mean, a part of me is like, wow, I know I'm probably just, people are like, no way, we're not going to see those lows, but just something to keep in mind. I myself, I have limit orders in at like 103, 102, 96, 93, just because we could see a move back. I don't think we're going to go down past the 200. It's possible to visit the 314 again. That's right at the 786 level at like 82,000, but I don't think we're going to quite see anything that dramatic happen. So I'm just kind of watching for a retrace. I have my buy orders in at like 102, 103,000, 96, 93, because I think that is most likely what we're going to see happen. And if we started coming down, we're going to meet the 200. It'll be a little bit higher. So really, like, gosh, like, I mean, if I was to get Bitcoin right now on this at a swing down to like 96, 97K before we went back up, that would be just so damn sweet. I just want to buy it now and then go down and then move back up. I just have a issue with ever being in the red. I just don't prefer it, because you never know. There's no top and there's no bottom. So I want to buy in the green, lock that green in with a stop loss on the way up, and just never be in the red again. This is a goal in life anyway. So here's Bitcoin. That's my thoughts on it right now. Looking at a 4-hour chart, 4-hour chart looks good. Honestly, 4-hour chart's moving up. We're seeing some volume, but do note the 4-hour chart. Look at that. Let's see. This is a bullish candle. That spinning top's a bit bullish, even though they're red. Let's go down to some serious low time frames, and let's look at a 45-minute chart. 45 minutes above the 200 moving average, looking good. Volume coming in. You never know. I wonder, we could be seeing some volume coming in to get that all-time high of like 110K or something like that, and then sit there for part of a day, and then, like I say, retrace and do some wreckage before we move up, get rid of those pesky longs. Anyway, nice looking channel. A person could even be very daring and like if they really were trying to be tight here, indicators look like they're going up. You could kind of like buy, sell, and then just be ready to catch that retrace that goes on forever. Anyway, everybody, that is Bitcoin. So let's look at the other stuff that we have to look at here. Okay, these are the coins we're going to look at. So let's just search by we'll order these by move. This is one that I just wanted to throw out there. You know what? I'm going to skip that one. Sorry, it's a pain. Let's just say that AIOZ versus USD. If we look at this one here, let me actually grab a daily chart here. This is one that I was mentioned in the blockchain education webinar recently. And let me see here. I need to get a stronger GPU here, or CPU. It's having a hard time pulling it in. This is on Coinbase, right? Coinbase. Where's my history? Anyway, sorry, but you see this beautiful downtrend here, this downwards channel. Well, that's not exactly right. This downwards channel. I should just use the proper stuff. Anyway, there's your downwards channel. You've definitely been coming downhill for quite a while. And what do we see here? We see a reversal in that. So now we're seeing an upwards channel. And that is AIOZ versus USD. The trick here is we're above 200 and 314, but we do have this nice long downtrend. Now we're seeing an uptrend. Definitely, we could see this one, start to move upwards. And if it gets that 200 moving average, it gets above that there, then comes back and retraces it. It could be quite interesting. We could see it at least run back up to where it was back in the day at about $1.25. So anyway, interesting coin. It's beginning to lose some of its fervor here, so I'm not quite ready to get into it, but definitely I'm going to be watching it for that a nice move above that 200 moving average. So we'll give it we'll give it some time to mature. If you look at it on the 4-hour chart, you can definitely see where it's got a beautiful upwards channel. I mean, that's really nice. Boom. That's moving up beautifully. It's about it's about the 200 and the 314 on the 4-hour chart, and the 4-hour looks like it's beginning to turn up. So a lot of things are in this limbo state, but definitely that's one that I'm watching. It's not one of the ISO compliance, but now for the ISO compliance 4-hour chart for ADA, that's at Cardano. Here you can see this beautiful upwards channel. It's just glorious. Can't beat that. You have a high, have a higher high, have a higher high, have a low, higher low, well, actually low, lower low, but then a higher low and a higher low. So you have this nice uptrend. And of course, where are we at in that uptrend? I like this on the 4-hour chart. The MACD is in the right place, turning up. Directional squeeze indicator is looking good. Directional index has given us some love. ADX is about to turn up, and volume's not incredible, but there's a little bit of volume there. And boom, definitely I could see myself putting in a tight stop, riding this thing back up to the top of the channel, and then seeing if it's going to challenge and make the top of this channel resistance, and then keep going up. Looking at this on the daily, see, I'm watching all these coins because I think if we do get an alt run, I definitely want to be, poised and ready and know these very well. Here on the daily chart, look at that. This looks beautiful at the bottom of this channel here. We're up below the 200 moving average though, so watch out. But definitely, indicators are rolling over, but still ADA one to watch. That's a lot of them. I see that they're looking powerful on the 4-hour chart, but they're rolling over, and the daily oftentimes is not quite where I'd like it to be. Looking at, but they're getting there. DOGE on the daily, I'm not even gonna look into this one very much. It's between the 314, the 200 on the daily chart. Indicators are rolling over. It definitely gave a lot back the last couple weeks, months. We're getting an upwards channel going, but it's not where I really want to see it yet. My guess is the 4-hour chart probably looks a little bit better. Yeah, 4-hour chart's nice, but but what's happening right now? You can see, we ran up, and now we are in. Sorry, where's my? Oh yeah, like we ran up, and now we're basically just in an accumulation phase. And just watch out, because these indicators are showing me a little bit of action towards possible breakout. Now I know that this is, people get into all the different shapes. I won't, bore everybody right now, but you do have kind of like one of these shapes here, and these tend to break that way. So we shall, see how that actually does. Let's look at HBAR. HBAR on the 4-hour, not too exciting, making a bounce to the 200 moving average, looking okay. Indicators are turning up. I like what I'm seeing with HBAR. You could kind of do a fib right now on this one here, and you could say, where are we at? Fib is bouncing off that 618 golden pocket down by the 200 moving average. It wicked about the .5. That's a nice spot to be. Indicators are turning up. I like it. On the 4-hour, I like that. But on the daily, what am I seeing? Seeing this nice fib on the daily, it's the same fib really. Of course, we broke over the 200 moving average, but we didn't hold it. Now we're back in the 618 pocket, on the fib. So just, I'm just not excited enough to get in that right now. That's how they kind of all are. So we might be looking for days or a week or so, or who knows how long before these are really ready, but we want to be poised when they start moving. So XRP, it's our ride, and we won't go through it because it's the same chart as all the others. Actually, a little bit different. Yeah, XRP on the daily. Okay, be watchful. Let me do like this as quickly as we can here. XRP. Let's get a fib going. Where are you at? Yeah, it came down to the .5, actually the 618. It's riding the 200 moving average up to the 382. It's challenging the 382 fib level. Indicators are looking pretty good. XRP, you know what? I'm not super excited. I think if we get an alt season, it's definitely poised to move up. I have no doubt there. How's the so it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. How's that 4-hour chart looking? 4-hour chart is rolling over. It looks like it wants to move towards the upside. So we're seeing kind of like flaccid daily charts, but more exciting 4-hour charts. What does that tell you? I don't know. I'm not going to spend much time on this one. XLM, USD, run up, gave a lot back, beginning to get an uptrend. It's between the 200 and the 314 indicators in general rolling down. If we look at a shorter time frame, as you can see, this one here is starting to get some energy as well. Solana, this one's kind of exciting. We have a nice upwards channel, which is good. It can't get above the 200 and the 314. It's kind of riding the 314. Indicators are beginning to roll over. On the daily chart, how does it look? Yeah, it would have had to run up around October of 2023. It ran up. It's been going sideways. A lot of consolidation. I shouldn't say consolidation. I just call it like accumulation through here. And then boom, a nice buy, and we're kind of in any a strange zone here. Let's just do a fib with what we've got, and we're about the .5 fib level. It looks like we're actually, that 314 is above the green 314 is above the .5, and so is the white 200 moving average. We're kind of hanging out between them. Really, that daily 314 is a big deal. Need to make a move off that, get above the 200 moving average, probably above this 382, but still definitely we're in an upwards channel. It's just a little bit weak here on the daily. If I was to look at the 4-hour chart, we'd probably see a little bit more energy. 4-hour chart looks like it wants to continue. It's above the 200 moving average on the 4-hour. Definitely Solana, short time frame, 4 hours, a little bit more bullish on the daily, and needs some time. Quant, QNT, I kind of like this one. Definitely had a powerful run up. I pull a lot in here. Yeah, let's see. I can pull. Let me do let's get the data that I can here. Yeah, looking at the weekly, you can see we ran up and we've been slowly. It's just been a great big, kind of downwards channel there, and you could kind of almost argue that we're still in it, but we are seeing you did these little run-ups here that do happen. So we could kind of look at this guy and be like, well, let's see here, what do we got? Let's get out of the weekly here. Let's go back to the daily. Daily, it may end up just not being any more than this last run up. Boom. But still, zooming in a bit, we are, like some of the alts that are kind of looking good these right now, had a downward trend, which is converted to an uptrend. How far will it go? Well, right now the daily trend looks like it's kind of rolling over. If I was to look at a 4-hour chart, we'll be here all day and day, so I'm going to move a little faster. But in general, we're holding that 200 on the daily chart. I like that. I definitely think this one is, Quant is poised to run up if we get an alt season. And even now, you could just get in. What about the 200 moving average on the daily and just keep riding this guy up? And I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'll do it. 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart looks strong. I like it. Trump coin. Now, I know some people hate them. Some people love them. I don't really care. I'm just looking at this coin. We do very well know that this sucker was a in my opinion, this is a great big rip off. Anyway, but still, it hit the market. It's down. It's trying to get back above the 236. Indicators are kind of looking good. A little bit of action. The thing is, it's after just. This is kind of oh my gosh, you could almost see a pattern, something like this. 1 second. You could almost see something like this, a huge cup and handle form. Wouldn't surprise me on this one. But with that said, though, we are moving up. So let's actually zoom into the daily chart here a little bit. And what do we got? Go up. Sorry with that. Bonk. It's tough. It's a tough one to play right now. I really wouldn't know what to do with it. But the thing is, though, it has gotten over a long downtrend. We're beginning to see some upwards movement. That could be very, very daring and do something like, kind of an upwards channel like that and say, that's interesting. Looking at the indicators here on the Daily chart, MACD, it's above the heartbeat. It's gotten some upwards movement. MACD is getting above that signal. Squeeze indicator is at least showing some upwards momentum, probably rolling over. Directional index is nice in the green. ADX is turning up down here where you like it. Volume is decreasing a bit, but this is interesting. Let's look at a 4-hour chart. I would say in general, for those who, bought a bunch of Trump coin back in the day, thinking they were going to, get rich, well, it didn't work out for them. But you know what? There's hope. It's beginning to turn up. And here on the 4-hour chart, it's above the 200 moving average, and the 314 has an upwards channel. I like it. MACD is kind of rolling over. Squeeze is looking good. It was in a squeeze. Now it's in the green going up. Directional index is good. ADX is good. A little bit of volume coming in. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one because really it very well just could continue. We'll just keep an eye on it. I'm not, passionate about the coin, but let's just keep an eye on it. Let's just see what it does. AAVE, exciting coin. This one here, definitely we can see it rolling over on the 4-hour chart. It has been a rocket ship to Pluto. It's really been pushing hard. I think it probably needs to take a bit of a rest right now, but you can definitely see a nice upwards channel that it's been in on the 4-hour chart. Is above the 200 and the 314. It's probably going to continue this up, although it's giving some back right now. So if it was me, I would watch this thing on the 4-hour chart for a visit back down to the bottom of this channel. But anyway, AAVE looking pretty good on the daily. You can see this is a rather exciting coin to be watching because you can see that uptrend, forming that change in direction. Looking at a daily chart, you can kind of modify that a little bit. You can kind of go like this and say, yeah, look at that. That thing is, you can kind of go here. You can move it. You almost could think it's getting above the 200 moving average here on the daily chart, and I think it's going to make the top of this channel probably support, and then just keep moving. So it's nice. We can look at it. It's like so many coins. This thing here, I think. What's that like? Where's it definitely had it's given a lot back on the daily. Yeah. So all depends on how you look at it, but basically we have this nice downtrend for quite a while, and now we see a change in direction, and it's a healthy one, or above the 200 moving average. So it's an exciting coin. Indicators in the daily are looking pretty good. I think 4 hours showed a little bit of exhaustion, but still, like I say, these are all ones to watch, especially the ISO compliant ones, which is the whole like ISO 20022 or something, whatever it is. But they're the ones that are most likely to be used for a tokenized future, and that's kind of like the ADA, the HBAR, XRP, XLM, and I know Quant is as well. These are the ones I'm looking at just because they're popular and they're making moves. So anyway, everybody, that's what I have got really for Bitcoin. I myself am just not getting in quite yet. I just think we're going to see a little bit of a retrace, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. But even if we get 109, 110K, I think we're probably going to see a retrace back down to the 200 moving average, and I think it will surprise people how low it goes. But hey, if you really want to get into that next bull run up to like 150K, that's just speculative or something like that. Well, you could always layer in as it goes down. Buy the dip. Just be sure that you don't. I would just personally say don't buy that dip below the 200 moving average, which is right around 93,200 on the daily chart. I would stay above that. I wouldn't buy dips below that. Anyway, everybody, there you go. Oh, what you could look at here is if you're into the ICT stuff, you could note these fair value gaps here. Bonk. Another one here. And those are definitely locations that we could see visited. This one I'm not so sure about below the 200 moving average, but this one here, which is basically like between like 98,000 and like 101,000, definitely that as we call them it isn't the only fair value gap. I guess there's one here as well. So there's a couple. And you can just look those up, what they mean. That's kind of out of scope to define that. No, that's not a fair value gap, is it? Nope, that wouldn't be. Sorry, that's all there is these guys here, these two. So definitely we could see movement, something like that, where you came down and hung out here and then made your move back up. Definitely could. This one down here, I don't know. I think that's kind of wishful thinking, but it's possible we could hit that 200 moving average, especially if we wicked below it a little bit. Bam! I mean, that'd be a sweet limit order at like 91,000. Good heavens, Anyway, because you might hit 50% of it with a wick, and if I was to zoom in on that, sorry about that, this fair value gap here. Let me just do like this. So that fair value gap, it looks. It's lined up pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Make sure I got that measured right. That's pretty good. And it comes down to here. It needs to come right to there. And then let's make this real big. And let's look at, let's just look at a fib. It'll be fast. Let's do a fib right here. Oh. Let me try to do a fib here. What is 50%? 90,241. Wow. For a crazy, to not be that risky, for a crazy play like a limit order at 90,635. That would be, so 90,635. There's your Hail Mary, catch a wick, retrace before Bitcoin goes crazy. Anyway, I've been going on way too long. Everybody take care.